auction ended. You realized about 2 minutes down the road he forgot me. You came back. He said, I went and got her at the end.
Well, I just wanted to say, about 4 years ago, I came to know Anne again. You know, Beth and I share this distance from family, and it changes things. It does. So we have these gaps in our, you know, not knowing who you married, or your career, or your divorces, or all this, and the newborns, and anyway, so we were going around Curtis Road, and we started, of course, talking about people, and both Anne and I said how much we loved Donna and Doug Mason. And it just was so profound that I found somebody
That really knew them.
that really had that feeling for them.
They were nice people.
Yeah.
They were.
But what I loved about Anne was, I don't know how many of you were on her Facebook page, but she and I share the same political views, and she went from being a non-active political person to a very active political person. And I was just so grateful for her voice. It was like the big Anne voice. I mean, Anne was always demure and kind of quiet, and here she was, so passionate about her feelings about politics. And so I overestimated myself, and I signed up to write 200 postcards. And I was telling her that, you know, I kind of burdened myself. And so she said, I'll write 25. So I sent them to her, and stamps and addresses, and she said that. But also I wanted to say that I would come to Connecticut, and Tracy and I would go visit this woman named Virginia. And Virginia is a friend of our family's. Her husband George was in the war with Wes, and best friends with Wes. And when they came back from the war, they had malaria, and Grandma took them in and took care of them. And so Tracy and myself and Anne would go and visit Virginia. She's 98 now. And we met in September, and Anne parked her car in back of the supermarket in Thomaston because we were going to carpool. And she had this like fierce look on her face, like, I parked here and don't mess with my car. You know, she had kind of like a fierce voice in her that came out every once in a while. But we all know her as just such a gentle, kind person.
Very kind, very gentle. She took care of me for 12 days, 12 books in the nursing home with everything she owned for the 20 part of the day. I mean, she was so kind. She would follow me, and at night she'd stand with that thing on her and she'd stare at me, and I think, Ann, go to sleep. Oh no, something might happen to you. And it got to be, it was a joke, but it was funny. But then she'd get mad at me, and she had that Grandma Mason finger, and she'd go, don't you go out of this chair without me. And I always remembered that. It was just funny. That would go, yeah. But she was the kindest, sweetest, most gentle human being I think I've ever met. You know?
Yes.
Even her neighbor, who she couldn't stand, she'd go to the grocery store for her. And she would. But do you need something? Not a grocery list, but two items. She would tell her. But Anne was always so kind.
She took care of the animals at the animal shelter for years.
Yeah.
But I also got something to share about Brady, and it's because I've been at his house for the last 11 or 12 days or whatever, and so I got to know my brother a little bit, and so I thought I would share that with you if you hold those. So I'm just going to come up here. What I learned about Brady in the last few weeks of living at his home, first thing I found was a can of worms in the refrigerator. Immediately I released them. Coffee mugs everywhere. A small truck, only two-wheel drive, so unlike the others who drove by those big diesel trucks. 4 tons of pellets in the garage, filling that space along with rows of firewood for the impending Maine winter. Kitchen shelves filled with a collection of salt and pepper shakers. Amethyst crystals in a vignette on the porch with one that lit at night as a beacon on the porch. Bookcases and bookcases of antique books on history, art, philosophy. Homemade signs for his harvest stand at the side of the road or his antique store on Route 7. Tallies of harvests like September 30th, summer squash, 5. Evidence of bird feeders and bird seed, conversations about the yard, an annual, just a second, I gotta turn the page, of hummingbirds or cardinals, deer. Instead of arriving May 1st, he would say the hummingbirds arrived May 4th this year. The intake nurse, when I arrived to get his belongings, what a sweet, sweet man, she said, as she placed her hand on mine. Sorry. Neighbor Hannah arriving with homemade cookies. Daryl, an antique dealer, helping me decide what has value. Mike coming with a loader to push down the dumpster so we could load more in. Everyone sharing news of hunting a deer. My brother never hunted. In the local community of auctions, Brady was a special member, known for his wit. He took down a large barn and shored up and built an attached shed. A junkyard of tools, 29 hammers. A gun stationed at the door of the country home. Deliberate crucifixes of glass marbles and lots of stones. Every card that arrived saved and cherished from all of you. His gentle smile, an appreciation of kindness that came his way, and giving back in his easygoing way, almost like he had only one case of coffee. Always observant of nature, photos of birds, flowers, winter storms. His chair in the porch where he would spend every evening just watching nature, taking in scents and softening sounds of the seasons changing. Aww, that was so cute. The 29 hammers was so